Hi guys, welcome to Liquidity and Liquor. It's Yosef Martin and Scott Clary. And today we're going to have in our episode, we're going to talk about skills in your organization versus attitude.
Okay, so this is something actually, you mentioned that you put it on TikTok a week ago, but you've been speaking about this for like a year and a half.
Yes.
So skills and attitude, what do you hire for?
I feel before we start,
Yeah.
I never really thought about this until I thought about this. Kind of like one versus the other, which I don't think it should be one versus the other, but I saw the Simon Sinek viral meme where he say, you don't hire for skills, you hire for attitude. You can always teach the skills and everyone goes, and yes, you're right. Yes, you
So
are.
but right away, let's like get it off the table. Like we're not talking about things that need degrees. So not lawyer, not doctor, things that you obviously need like a certain level.
Well,
of
he
degree.
just posted out there like this, right? It was a very general explanation. It wasn't specific, right? It was just
but that's the best leadership content sometimes.
I mean, the thing is,
there
when
is an
there's-
art in viral
yeah, I mean,
content.
when you want to go viral, okay, it doesn't have to be right. My thing was, I feel like people are followers. People just see a very well put together sentence and someone that's coherent, and they're gonna follow him. Right? It's just what happened with human beings. So I'll start with the fact that when I saw it, I was shaking my head and I said, "Whoa, wait a minute! Did you try to get a job in Tesla, in SpaceX, in Amazon, in Google? They only hire for freaking skills. I mean, did you ever try to see how research and development hiring process looks like?
You know why?
Did you see? Do you think they're looking for the cool dudes? And how are you going to go and say that you can always teach skills? No, I cannot always teach skills. I want to acquire new skills. When Amazon hired, I forgot the names, there were a few executives from Walmart that they were in charge on all their logistics. Walmart in the 90s owned the world. They had their just-in-time inventory system. It's case studies. If you were taking business classes around early 2000s, Walmart was the thing to learn from, and everything was around them. So what happened with them was, when Amazon came in, they hired their top execs that were managing all their logistics because they wanted to learn that unfair advantage that Walmart had and then build their own unfair advantage. Do you think they're hiring for attitude, the bunch of cool dudes? Like, what do you think made Amazon? They went right away to what's important. They wanted to hire best in class. They wanted to acquire people who know something that no one else does. And that's how they can be a unicorn.
So a few things. I think that, yes, correct. But I also think your perspective is different than a lot of people's because you've probably hired people that don't have the skills required. And then they haven't just become great at their job because they have a great attitude. I think we've all made mishires that it seems like they have a great attitude, but then all of a sudden they can't really perform at the level that you want them to perform. So I think
But attitude and performance is two different things, right? Attitude,
no, but the concept of this quote, to play devil's advocate, the concept of this quote is saying that if they have the right attitude, they will eventually perform in the task or the role that they're given. That's what he's trying to allude
and
to.
that's where I fundamentally disagree, right? If you go, well, do you think no matter how hard you're going to learn basketball, can you beat LeBron James? Do you think Michael Jordan was the nicest? We know he was not the nicest, but you cannot be Michael Jordan unless you're Michael Jordan. It's like there are some things you can teach. There are some skill sets that you need to acquire. You need to bring those people who can do something that no one else can. You can't just teach it. It's something else. Don't get me wrong. I'm not provoking to go and hire anyone. I mean, if you hire assholes that are going to fuck up the entire organization culture, no, get them out. Right. But to go in and brush it off and say you can always teach, it comes from someone who never really had a business that required specific skill sets. It's more like a small business. Most people are clerks and they...
You know what it sounds like? It sounds like entrepreneurs, like early stage entrepreneurs.
Early, exactly.
So when you're, I'll again, to play devil's advocate, to understand that I think context really matters. And this isn't a universal law because in a startup, some of the first people you hire, they're going to be doing everything.
Yeah, but you
but
still
if you
cannot
over-index on skills,
but that's not what I would ever say. I wouldn't say over-index on skills. What I'm saying is that you cannot just go and cut it in like with a knife and say it's all about the attitude. You can teach the skills. It is so wrong.
That's incorrect.
An engineer, a rock star engineer, will solve a problem that 1,000 B-player engineers would never ever be able to solve. If you, and I mean, I can go on and giving you examples where if I said, well, Steve Jobs, if you know anything about Steve Jobs, he was not a nice guy. And look at Apple today, right? Attitude has its place, don't get me wrong, right? But if you're so good at something else, sometimes it makes more sense to go and work around that. Listen to Elon Musk when he went to Twitter and he said, well, now you all have to work at the office, all of you. And some woke people were arguing that, over there, like, well, everyone's going to have to come back to work. Even in Tesla, we're doing this unless you're completely different and you have a particular set of skills that allow you to go and ask to go and stay home. And he actually said that.
You did say that.
So I guess Simon Sinek thinks that Elon Musk doesn't know what he's doing. Good luck with that, Simon.
I think actually Simon has it reversed.
If he would sit here, he would say, no, that's not exactly how I wanted to say that, right? My point, it's like, it was a one-liner and people said, yes, everything is true.
The way you take away from this, you take away from this, it's when you read it or you hear him say it, it sounds like he's saying, if you find the right attitude, then the second thing that you look for is skills. I think it should be the opposite. I think you have to have the skill set first.
You definitely have to consider attitude, right?
And then you have to consider attitude, but the skill set is the baseline in which you qualify that person's even right to have a conversation about the right attitude.
I'll tell you why. I mean, I think Simon Sinek, and actually I like Simon Sinek. I like listening to him, but I think he's a very smart person. His career doesn't show that he ran a major business. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's from what I read prior to entering this meeting. But the thing with that is, ask yourself, who do you think is going to go and... If I'm going to say, look, you have to be skilled, and most people are not skilled, then you're going to have less people cheering for you. But if you say, hey, you don't need any skill, just be a cool dude. All right, and now it's all about that. We can teach you that. Yeah, of course, yes. People are going to go and cheer for that because they're not skilled, most people, right? Acquire skills. If you acquire multiple skills, you become... Look, if you look at, let's take Elon Musk. Okay, Elon Musk took business classes. Then he took science and physics. Then he combined them together. So you can take engineers. They might be better than Elon Musk, but they don't have the business skill to perform a vision between the understanding of science and physics and seeing the business potential. Multiple skills can create something different, right? You need skilled people. Right? You definitely need to have skilled people. So my opinion, don't listen to this. And in fact, don't just listen. There was another one with Gary Vee, and it's just too long to phrase, but he basically said, listen, it's all about, I care about a bunch of awesome dudes. I'm all about the personality. I don't care about having people. Like, no, I'm sorry, you're wrong. And Gary Vee is a guy that I have a lot of respect.
But I'll tell you something. You know what? The actual takeaway from this is, if you're trying to make a point on social media, you'll always hear, like, as a receiver of Gary Vee's content or Simon Sinek's content, you're going to hear absolutes. Mm-hmm. And absolutes aren't universally applicable.
Exactly.
You have to understand the meaning behind it. So maybe in Gary Vee's case,
maybe there's more context because it was a short form. But
it was a tweet. It was like
no, it was not a tweet. There's an actual video where he actually speaks, and he said, "I always go for personality. All my people are B's and C's because I'm looking for an A-type personality, because they would always beat the C minus, which the C minus personality. A C minus, I get it. C minus is hard to deal with. So no matter if you're a rock star, but you're just a difficult person. Yeah, exactly. It's very hard. But I mean, what was Steve Jobs? I mean, he was nothing close to a C minus. He was like an F, if you know his stories. I mean, he had his HR walking behind him because he would walk in and shoot at people saying, "You're a freaking idiot, get the hell out of here." It was just, that's the way he was talking to people. And it's the point behind this, that was his experience. It's not always true for everybody, right? I don't encourage anybody to hire assholes or jerks. That's not my point behind this. I feel like the bottom line is, take that aside, think for yourself. Gary Vee is someone that has a lot of respect. He actually predicted that Facebook is going to acquire Instagram when Instagram had 15 million followers. He predicted that in 2012, the BlackBerry is going to die. It was 2 years before, right? So I have a lot of respect for him, right? But you need to think, no matter who said that. Don't just go and agree wholesale on every ideology and everything else.
All right. Okay, that's it for today. If you enjoyed, please subscribe on YouTube. If you enjoyed this podcast, you can download and listen to it wherever you get your podcasts or on liquidityandliquor.com.